Hey everyone, welcome back. In our previous session, we actually discussed about MorphFS version 2. In that, we actually set the grounds for this, set the ground for this whole program thing that we are going to learn today. So basically, it was all about logical discussion about how our code would look like, because I wanted to help you guys to form mental model. So that's where the previous session ended. So if you haven't watched it, please go and watch that. So, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe. So without wasting any time, let's dive into this. So in MorphFS version 2, what we are expecting is basically when user pastes his path of a file, of the desired file, our program should match, search for that path inside our memory, and it should retrieve all the metadata. Metadata is the information about file, that is size of the file, name of the file, when it was modified, the permissions, etc. Right? In this program, we are only focusing on name, size, modified. So it should retrieve those information back to us. This is the overall thing that we want to build. So that's been said, let's discuss one by one everything about this code. We have to have struct, because struct, if you remember, gives us it's a custom data type. Basically, it helps us to store multiple data types inside a struct. It shows that this is part in, if any file exists, these are all the things that we want, right? How to tell this to computer? Through struct. That's why we are defining struct here. Basically, it helps us to put related objects together. These are all objects basically, right? Done. So we defined struct here. We named it as file info. So every file has its file info. This is the blueprint that we are generating, right? Okay, that's done. Now we have what? Get info. As in our previous session, we actually talked about it, how it would look like. It is exactly looking like that. So yes, that's done. Next, we will display the file info. Done. I'll get into this in detail. Now main, because here this is where the program starts, right? We have to have a path, because user will be pasting his path, the file path, right? That's why this is a variable. Now we have 260 bytes of memory allotted for this path variable. Next, file info file. Now we are creating a file variable. It is empty now. Now it has been created. Name is there, size is there, modified is there. It has been created now when we put a file here. Inside this, all these things exist, but empty. Right now, nothing is there. Done. Next, what we do? Print this. Enter the path. Done. Now we are using fgets, because you must be wondering why are we not using the scanf, because scanf has a limitation of it doesn't work well with the gaps, the spaces, because the file name will have multiple words, right? My document, my, afterwards gap, blank space, and after that document. So it will read until my. After that, it feels like it doesn't work well for us. That's where the fgets comes in. So fgets does the same thing, but it wants to have this size of the path, so that it only considers that amount of things. When whatever we have written, it stores the thing exactly how we have put. So since it is input in, now when we press enter, it goes to next line. So we don't want, because we want null. Why it is very helpful whenever we are doing some operation with the string, it wants to have a null at the end. So that's why we are replacing this with null. It is basically saying the end of the string, right? For that we are doing this. This is string complement span. String complement span, the full form is. That's it. So now we are actually calling this function get file info. We are pasting path, we are pasting ampersand file. Here is an important thing. See, how does it looks like? It looks like constant character star path file in file. Basically, this is a pointer. If you are seeing, it holds what? Address. It holds what? Address. But we haven't used ampersand here. If you notice this, right? We have used directly this because the thing with array, you can directly write it. C will do that for us because we only want the first address of the block. For example, array starts from, there is a path, C drive, and some folder, and at the end my document or something like that. Now it's starting from 5000. Let's say its address is 5000. This is exactly that will be saved here. That will be here. The 5000 will be here. Are you able to understand? Here, once the pointer is there to store the what? Address we know, since it is array, it is recognizing it is array, so it is directly putting the 5000 here. So here we got 5000. Constant is because we are not changing it, we are not doing any changes to the path is just there to for us to search doesn't need any modifications to it. What we are actually trying to modify, because since the file is empty, we are trying to fill the file, so computer has to reach to the file, right? File is there in somewhere 5000. This is, did I tell 5000 for this? Let's say this is 1000, this is 5000. Okay, let's say this path is in 1000, address of path is 1000, so here 1000, here 5000, done. Here 5000, because program will get into that place, it reaches the door, then it gets inside the house and it starts to fill all this thing. Are you able to imagine it? Yes. Next, if you have seen my previous video, you would know the stat. Why we use stat, right? We use stat because right now we don't have our program doesn't has the ability to communicate with OS, operating system, because we can't just know, right? We can't just know where the things are, but operating system knows that, OS knows that. That's why we should use this function called stat. But which format it should save these things in, and it should match, right? We are using struct, data type. It should match that data type. That's why we are again defining this. Defining this file stat. File stat is another ledger, another nodes, right? It's another nodes, it's another ledger, another file, empty space for OS to store. Why? Let's go to next thing. Here starts conditional statements. So if stat path ampersand stat, what does this mean? Path is again, it's a array. Again, here 1000 is there because we have to read that. The stat has to read that, right? The function has to read that, so it has to reach to that path variable, not exactly the path where we have given the input, right? It is in the variable and it has its own address. That's where it is reaching. It will reach there and it will check. What does this stat function do? It checks for the match. If something if this path exists within our system, it will store this inside this file start. That's why ampersand file start. Ampersand is, it's giving the address of this file start. Let's say this is 6000, this is 1000, this is 6000. So it primarily searches for this path, and if path exists, paste it here, done. But the thing is, it will have multiple things, not only these three things, it will have permission, it will have other things as well, other modification time, access time, etc. So we don't want all these things, we only want these three things. But here in file start, we have all of these things: name, size, modified time, access time, permission, etc. Right? So what it will return? It will return, if it is success, it will return 1. If it is failure, it will return 0. Right? That's why we have written, if it is a 0, return 0, end of the story. If it is 1, success, then we have to have these three things in our variable, that is file. In our file, we want these three things, right? In our metadata, we want these three things. That's where this starts. See, this assumes that, because it's very easy thing, right? For us, we already know the data, we already know the file name, because when we know the path, it means we already know the file name. That's exactly what this assumes. So that's why it doesn't consist of file name here within this. So we have to separately form that, separately get that. How? Through our path only. That's where this comes in. Inside the file name, what we want? String reverse character. What does this do? It starts reading things from end of the thing. That's why I told you guys here, when we are replacing this is end of the string, because it will recognize the end. If it is new line, it won't recognize. That's why it will recognize the end and it starts reading from back. So what we want, because since it's all divided, the drive folders all divided through backlash in the path, right? So what we want first, from the last, we want first backlash. That's why this backlash, search this. This is this backlash is escape character. Another backlash is there, no? Because computer gets confused if you write one backlash, because there are things like new line, null and tab things, so that you use backlash n, backlash t, etc., backlash 0. So it will start waiting, what is this? Is this backlash or what? It gets confused. That's why use another backlash, escape character, and this is our real backlash. Done. It will search for it. Right? It will have this address. Now it has the address of the file. Now, if it is null, imagine we have just written the file name directly without the path, it comes out as a null, right? It comes out as null. So what does this do? String copy. We have to copy that. What we have to copy? The whole thing after the backlash. That's what we are doing. +1. Right next to that backlash, we have our file. That's where we are writing this. Inside the file, inside the name, we want this. We want file name +1. Done. Okay. Now we have file name +1. So we only want that thing. We don't want backlash. That's it. Otherwise, we directly write, if we have given the file name, that we are pasting it directly here. Done. Now size, because see, I told you, right, in file stat we will have all these things, name, size. How it is differentiated, how it is recognized, we use st It's stored in this format: st underscore name, st underscore size, st underscore modified, st underscore permissions. Like this it will be there. So other things also have a different thing. Right now you just know the size and time. I'll come to this. First let's see the size. Filestat.st size underscore size. So it will have this size inside this in the file stat. If you have seen my struct video, you should know this file, how to access a different object inside a struct. That is, write that variable because here we are accessing it from where? File stat dot, what we want in it? We want size. Write it. Since it is part of stat, st underscore size. Done. It's stored in file size. Because this arrow mark is similar to write like a star file dot size. It's same, star file dot size. You can write that also, you can write this also, both works in the same way. So done. Now string copy, we are copying the whole thing to here. File, since it is a string, we have to use string copy. Since it is an integer, we can directly access it. Okay, string copy file in the modified. In the file we are accessing modified. We have to paste things in modified. From where? From where? This is C time. Why? I'll tell you. Because in computer stores time in number format. It is all numbers. You won't understand it when you see that number in a raw format. That's why we use C time. So that what it does, now it is going to we are putting the address of filestat.st underscore m time, modified time. This is, since ampersand is there, it reaches to that address. Basically it has an address, so it will convert. It reaches there, it will convert the whole thing into human readable format. So it will paste here since we are using string copy. Done. Return one. Success. Now display is simple, guys. Name, size, modified, time, last modified. Name we are accessing from file, size we are accessing from file, modified we are accessing from file. Done. So if file exists, it will display. If it doesn't exist, file not found or cannot access file. Return 0. Done. Let's run this. Let's see. It's building. It's still building. Why is it taking so much time? Yes, we got it. Now what is the path? Let's say since it's here, let's write it here. See, we got wait, I'll show you. We got file information, name is v2.exe. since we wanted this, we got it. Size, it is there. Last modified when? Sunday, that is today. I modified it around 9:42 am. Done. Simple. For example, I'll give wait, I'll have to run this to run the program. So it's now we have to enter the path, right? Copy address. Done. So paste it here. Now I want to paste the file name. I don't even want the file, I just want the folder detail. So let's check whether it works. I just want download. Still download. Yes, we got the information. Let's run another thing. ABC. I don't think ABC exists in my download, so that's why I'm, see, file not found. It is working totally fine. Don't you think it is very handy when we build actually the file system? These are all the important things. Basically, we are utilizing the stat to communicate with our OS to retrieve some of the files that we want. File metadata, at least in this. In the next versions, maybe we will be able to get the file itself. So that's the goal. So I hope you have understood the whole concept here. If you haven't watched the previous one, please watch it once again. Right. So this is it, guys. In our next sessions, we will introduce linked list or something like that. We'll start learn things and we'll implement in our version 3. So till now, if you have watched it, please do subscribe, drop a like and drop a comment. Keep supporting. Thank you.